know?
I had a full head of hair when I went in.
Good idea, right?
It's a fantastic
good stuff, man.
Welcome to One Brooklyn, presented by Brooklyn Borough President Eric L. Adams. On this edition of One Brooklyn, Brooklyn Borough President Adams launches the first of its kind empowerment partnership with Kennedy Conglomerate Inc, a mobile barber service that he is funding to provide free haircuts for homeless neighbors in need across the borough.
It was all about, in the previous administrations, of fulfilling the obligations of right to shelter. But it's more than that. Here we're saying it's not only a right to shelter. We need to do more than just follow the law. We need to use those boundaries outside the law to give people the items they need so they can move from despair to opportunity, move from being destitute to determined. And that is what a haircut and a shower can do. It can give you your dignity so you can start the process of moving in a direction of home ownership, of employment, and having a quality way of life.
Borough President Adams has championed a variety of innovative approaches to serve at-risk populations, including plans for a mobile shower service that he announced in January through a partnership with the Brooklyn Community Services and Turning Point Brooklyn. The Borough President was joined at the facility by New York City Department of Social Services Commissioner Steve Banks. The Borough President and the Commissioner spoke about the importance of initiatives to further empowering homeless men in the borough.
Right, in the old days, the concept of shelter was three hots and a cot. And the Turning the Tide plan really says in order to help people get back on their feet more quickly and back into the community, we have to have a much more comprehensive approach to service delivery. And so the partnership with the Borough President is very important in terms of expanding services through these kinds of volunteer efforts and the efforts that we're doing. It's been a terrific partnership.
This pilot project, part of Borough President Adams' ongoing mission to adopt shelters through a mobilization of community resources that help uplift homeless individuals and families, began at Bergen House, a men's shelter that opened last year in Crown Heights.
When someone looks at a person, they always look at their attire. Presentation speaks volumes. So these clients do deserve to be able to have haircuts and look accordingly and be able to go out into society and be treated with respect.
It gives you self-worth. You got to take pride in yourself. And when you have the self-image that you're in a shelter, it's not that good. This kind of perks you up a little bit and gives you more insight of what the outside world really is.
The Borough President and the Commissioner held a press conference inside the Bergen House to announce the Barber-mobile.
Thank you. I am Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, and I'm joined by really one of my favorite commissioners here, Commissioner Banks. A difficult job with the level of commitment and dedication. We're making just real inroads, and we want to continue to do that. And his team, Sabrina Soto, Bergen House, thank you for allowing us to be here today. And see this, if you haven't noticed, this facility is extremely clean, and that is an indicator of respecting the men who are using this facility. And Jocelyn Carter from DHS, I see her on the road often as we talk about these issues around DHS, and just her level of commitment and dedication is appreciated. It starts from the top, and it's reflected in the staff and how we move forward. And so I really want to thank Kareem Kennedy from Kennedy Conglomerate Inc. That is his bust outside. It was his idea. He came to us with this idea, and it just really fed into our belief and concept that we need to use all of our community resources to give back to our former neighbors that have fallen on hard times. And this entire concept, I don't know if any of you know what it is like to be able to get your due done. When you can get a haircut, the shower bus on the road, when you can just feel better about yourself. It's more than a luxury. It's a necessity. If you're going to go out and try to find a job, if you're going to go out and do an interview, you need to look presentable because people judge you by how you look. And this initiative is an amazing initiative that we are teaming up with the entire team here to make it happen, and particularly Kareem for allowing us to use the bus. The commissioner and I would have gone out and got our haircuts, but as you see, we already have it cut. So we have a homeless crisis in the city. When you start to look at it, 63,000 people are homeless any given night. Brooklyn being the largest borough, 2.7 million people, we experience almost 15,700 homeless each day here in the city. The mayor put in place an initiative to open 90 new shelters, so the shelters are opening, but you want experiences like this, where the shelters are going to have input from the community and continue to contribute to the community. I know homeless so well. Mom used to always tell me about the life of how many times we were almost homeless, so I can really identify with what the men and women going throughout the city who don't have a permanent residence. And it's so important, as Pastor Monroe's from our team has always stated, that if we want to be real Christians, then it's about giving back in a real way to people in their time of need. This is an important initiative that we're doing. I want to continue to come together with trusted partners in our community and have them provide very real services. As you see, Borough Hall gave the first $3,000 check to this great initiative that Kareem is doing to pay for some of the haircuts. And so that is the spirit behind today's unveiling of the Barber Mobile, great business concept making barber service that is provided, free haircuts for our individuals who are either homeless or really if they have fallen on hard times. The homeless neighbors in need across Brooklyn in partnership with Kareem Kennedy, a real New Yorker, an entrepreneur who founded this concept and is moving just to give back to people in an everyday fashion. The Barber Mobile will also be traveling to other communities, Bedford Atlantic Shelter in Crown Heights, Linden Avenue Men's Shelter in East New York, Kingsborough Star Men's Shelter in East Flatbush. The beauty of the Barber Mobile is we don't have to go to people who can't afford, number one, a haircut, and number two, the Metro card to travel somewhere. So we are going to them and using technology, using this concept to give them the opportunity to receive free haircuts. Providing these haircuts to homeless Brooklynites will give people, number one, better hygiene, number two, a better feeling about themselves. That's what this is all about. Being destitute should not mean you are not giving your dignity and respect. And one indication of dignity and respect is how you feel about yourself. Being able to have that haircut, take that shower, go out into the part of the community and feel as though you feel good about yourself. It's a great heads up, and it's something that was missing. And I got to really thank the commissioner, because that was the missing piece. Historically, administrations only basically state you have a right to shelter, but you don't have a right to the dignity that you deserve. And Commissioner Banks and his team is taking this concept to a whole nother level, that not only are we going to give you shelter that we're required to give you, but we're going to go one step further, and that is so important. So I want to introduce my friend, Commissioner Banks, and have him say a few words, and then we will hear from Kareem, and then we will go out and see some gentlemen getting their haircuts, and if any ladies want to get their haircuts as well, that's right. He can get it. He can get it done. You know. So right now, Commissioner Banks.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Borough President. You've been a great partner in our effort to turn the tide, and I really appreciate it. It was just about a year ago when the Borough President spoke at First Baptist up on Rogers and Eastern Parkway, and he spoke eloquently about homeless New Yorkers as human beings and all of us as having the opportunity and the obligation to give back. And that was his call to action, and I'm very pleased to be here today with Mr. Kennedy. Clearly heard the call, and this kind of volunteerism is so important to help us turn the tide. This is an important initiative that the Borough President has put in place to encourage volunteerism, and we hope more people will hear the call like Mr. Kennedy did. And we talked a little bit earlier, the Borough President and I, about an initiative for art workshops at our shelter in Manhattan, at the Bellevue shelter. And these are the kinds of things that come from the kind of leadership I know that the Borough President has been providing in the Borough of Brooklyn, where I live. I also want to say this is the first of the Turning the Tide shelters right here. It's a shelter for senior citizens, men from Brooklyn, and I think you can see how different it looks from the kinds of facilities that once were used. Over the past year, the first year of this Turning the Tide plan, we've gotten out of 100 of the 360 buildings that we committed to get out of, and we said we would open a smaller number of 90 borough-based shelters. We've already announced 17 of them. This is the first one, and I think that it shows the progress. And I should also say that for the first time in a decade, the shelter system has been flat year to year in terms of the numbers of people in the system. We have much more work to do, we know that, but we can see the strategies beginning to take hold and the tide beginning to turn, and this kind of volunteer effort we really want to embrace, and thank you, Mr. Kennedy, for your hearing the Borough President's call, and not just hearing it, but doing something about it.
Thank you.
Kareem Kennedy, Barber Mobile.
All right. I would just like to thank Eric for the opportunity and also the commissioner. I appreciate it greatly. Kennedy Conglomerate was a brainchild of mine, and I really wanted to touch people that could not come out, who couldn't go to the barbershop actually. And we are actually wheelchair accessible for seniors, handicapped as well. So, you know, you need us, we'll come to you. We're definitely glad to help and serve the community, and that's why we're here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Sabrina, this is your house. Come on and say a few words about what you got going on.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Soto, the facility director of Bergen. And Bergen is an interesting shelter because we service just senior men. And I think that that's a different outlook on shelter. You know, shelter usually is Gen Pop 18 and over, but these gentlemen are all together. They all of the same age. They relate, and you know, definitely got to say thank you to my Bergen House staff because they are amazing. Yeah. And support services. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Jocelyn, anything you want to add?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm excited to be here because one of the things when I took this job 9 months ago is that not only are we turning the tide, but we want to make sure that this, for us, there's not one shop that fits all. We want to make sure that we tailor services to the need of the people who come to us. And this is one opportunity where we have men here getting their hair cut, because I think when you look good, you feel good. Right. And part of what we want to do is to make sure every person that comes to us is treated with dignity, with respect, no matter what the circumstances or what the experience is. And for us, we want to make sure we turn the tide, and this is one way we're doing that. So we do thank you, Borough President and Mr. Kennedy. We're really appreciative of everything that you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Open the floor to any questions, if there are any. Kareem? Sure.
What gave you this creative idea of coming to the shelter?
Okay. Several years ago, I was in Barber College. I went to ABI, American Barber Institute, Alex and Dave. While I was in barber school, they gave us an assignment, and the assignment was create your ultimate shop. So, you know, I went pen and paper. I'm an artist. I draw. I actually design everything in there and everything. So I had an idea, but I didn't want to give it to everyone because we're all in school together. So I gave a dummy idea and just did a little fake sketch or whatever. But I said to myself, because I have clients of mine that are seniors, you know, older people in wheelchairs, and I have to go to their house to cut their hair. So it was a situation of, you know, I would love to be able to just go to them and have them come out and have an experience. So that was actually the beginning of it. And I'm proud to say I've impressed those people, and hopefully I can impress the rest of you.
Okay.
K-A-R-E-E-N. Yes, but call me Mr. Kennedy.
Okay. Yes.
I have an off-topic question for you.
Yes, for me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Love it. This is the waiting area here, right?
First, yes. It's a wonderful thing.
Yes. Really nice. Good win. And you know, he's